All right, it is recording now. Hi, everyone. My name is Yiling Zhuang. I'm the Water Resources Regional Specialized Agent with University of Florida IFAS Extension in Central District. So I'm based in Mid-Florida Research and Education Center. If you have not heard extension, so I usually introduce ourselves as the extension of University of Florida. It extends the research-based, science-based knowledge to the public. On the right hand, you can see the map. So for Florida Extension, it's divided into 5 districts. I'm based in the Central District, which is the orange area. So you can see it's Central Florida and the North Central Florida. And this webinar series is a part of the Florida Well Owner Network. So the goal for Florida Well Owner Network is to educate residents about well water quality and quantity, the best practices to ensure well maintenance and groundwater protection, also to facilitate access to well water testing and provide information about treatment options if problems are found. The third goal for Florida Well Owner Network is to complement efforts by Florida Department of Health and the Florida Department of Environmental Protection to increase awareness among Floridians about practices regarding wells, septic systems, and drinking water. So why we develop the Florida Well Owner Network is because the situation, the well and the septic situation in Florida. Here, just gave you a quick overview and some background. An estimated 2.5 million Floridians rely on private wells for home consumption. So it translated to about 12% of population and 800,000 wells. Different from public water supplies, private well users are not regulated, so they control the management and the protection of their wells. Florida Department of Health provides information to well users. They also have the well surveillance program, identifies and monitors area where contaminated drinking water suspected. However, it's not a routine water testing, and there's very limited data exists on how many well users regularly test their water or drink from contaminated wells. On the other side, it's septic systems, because oftentimes the private well user is also a septic system user. So you can see from the number here, nearly 1 in 3 households in Florida depends on septic systems. So more than 2.5 million septic systems are in use. And later in the slide, you can see a more accurate number. The estimation is 2.6 million septic systems are in use in the state of Florida. And the Basin Management Action Plans identify septic systems as a major source of nitrogen to impaired water bodies. So therefore, this year, it's the second year we conduct this private well and the septic system webinar series. Last month, we did the first one, it's private well 101. This month is septic system. In next 2 months, we'll cover the private well care and septic system care before and after storms. As I mentioned earlier, I will share the PowerPoint slides with everyone. So when you receive that, if you haven't attended the first one, here's the link to the recording. Once you click it, it will direct you to the recording page. And the next two, it's the registration link. Highly encourage you to attend the whole series, so you will have a better understanding about the well and the septic system maintenance in Florida. So what we'll cover in this presentation, because this one is Septic System 101. So first we'll cover why are we concerned about septic systems in Florida? And how do conventional septic system work? A little bit touch on the 2016 Florida water bill, and then the advanced nitrogen reducing technologies and resources. Last but not least, everyone is very interested in the septic system maintenance. So first, let's clear up some terminologies. So here you will hear me say septic systems. Maybe I will say septic tanks, or you will see the acronym OSTD. So it's the on-site sewer treatment and the disposal systems. So this is a more accurate term. It's not just a tank, because later I will give you, I will explain what's the difference between the tank and the system. So you can see several different terms here just to be consistent. So I will use septic systems during the whole presentation. So I just said I will use septic systems, but apparently in the title page, I use OSTD. Just to remind you, OSTD, it's on-site sewer treatment and disposal systems. So just how prevalent are septic systems in Florida. 2.6 million systems in Florida. Over 30% of population rely on a septic system for wastewater removal. For the Department of Health, there was a study earlier, I think it was in 2016, estimated that OSTDS discharged more than 400 million gallons of treated wastewater per day. So what does here mean about treated wastewater? Because septic systems, they are designed from a public health perspective. So in other words, they are very effective in removing pathogens. When properly sited and maintained, they do a fantastic job for nitrogen or for pathogen removal. However, traditional septic systems, so like the diagram show here, conventional septic systems, they are not designed to remove nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus. So nitrate nitrogen readily leach into groundwater. Let's also go back to the Basin Management Action Plans, identify septic systems as a major source to impair water bodies. So how most of us, we use a conventional septic systems. So first, let's just have a look. How do conventional septic system work? So this is a very typical house with a septic system. So usually like in your front yard, you have your septic system, and in your backyard, you have your private wells. So a conventional septic system has two components. One is the septic tank, another is the drain field. Just like this picture show you here, and your tank is usually concrete and then connect to the drain field. So let's break it down, have a closer look at a conventional septic system. So the first part is the septic tank. So it's designed for the size and expected use of the home. Later, I will also give you a table, show you how the size is designed. And a typical septic system has 3 layers, like inside the sewer. So, but the bottom, it's the solid waste. We also call it the sludge. So when wastewater come into your septic tank, the natural occurring bacteria break down the organic matters. So it forms a layer of solid in the middle, and in the top, it's the oil and the grease. And on the top, it's oil and grease. And in the middle is the liquid layer. And that will be the effluent move on to the drain field. So when the waste, the sewer comes into the septic tank, it's usually ammonia, nitrogen in the form of ammonia. Then they will quickly convert to nitrate, and because since the nitrate is readily available to leach into groundwater, just give you a picture why, like where does the nitrogen come from? And as I mentioned, very typical material for septic tank is concrete. And another one is plastic. I meant to add a picture here. I searched my database, I couldn't find it. Probably if we, because last time I was driving, I forgot where I was. I saw a semi truck with all the septic tank, like polyethylene plastic tank on the back of the truck. So that's getting more and more popular now. It's these polyethylene plastic because they are very light, very easy to transport. And for concrete tank, it's very difficult to transport. That's why it's usually assembled on site. And the size of the tank depends on the bedrooms. Usually the tank is about 2 feet below surface and at least 50 feet away from drinking well. And according to Florida's building code, because Florida doesn't, when in the building code, the septic tank and the septic drain field is like it, the septic system is considered a whole, and the building code is 75 feet. Your private well has to be at least 75 feet away from septic system. And some other extension materials, they consider the tank and the drain field separately. So they suggest that the minimum distance from the tank is at least 50 feet. And the drain field to the well at least 100 feet. And also the tank, usually it's about 10 to 15 feet from the house. That's the table shows you the tank size and the bedroom size. So if you have 1 bedroom, minimum tank size, it's a 900 gallons. If you have 3 bedrooms, then the minimum tank size is 1,050 gallons. If it's a 4-bedroom house, the minimum size is 1,200 gallons. So to find more, if you have a bigger house, you can look at this code and find the regulation to that. The other part to a septic system, is very important component is the drain field, because most treatment takes place here. And for the drain field, it's a series of trenches or a single bed with perforated pipes. The function is filtering, removal, and transformation of contaminants as effluents move through the soil. So here shows you a picture of a very typical drain field. The drain field is usually buried about 1 to 3 feet below surface. It requires unsaturated soil because when the soil is saturated, it just doesn't do a good job in removing contaminants. And also for that drain field, it has to be 24-inch, at least 24-inch, like from the bottom of the drain field to the top, to the highest water table, at least 24-inch. So I mentioned earlier is septic systems are not good at removing nitrogen and phosphorus. So the question here is how much nitrogen flows out of a septic tank. So here shows average a person in the sewer produce about 9 pounds of nitrogen per person per year in the sewer, and go to the tank and then treated by the drain field, still about 6 pounds of nitrogen per person per year. Leaves the drain field. So in other words, the conventional septic system only removes about 30% of nitrogen. And when it comes to phosphorus, it's a little bit different. So every year in the sewer, it's about 2.2 pounds. And the leaving drain field, it's about 0.4 pounds per person per year. So it has a higher removal rate of phosphorus. It's about 80%. Again, that's in like the sited right, maintained right, a very functional septic systems. If a septic system fails, it creates an even bigger problem. So it fails because of the poor design and the placement. So can be the inappropriate soil. It's just so saturated, or it just it's just not the right soil, it drains too quickly. Or some areas, the water table is so high, then the drain field is so close to the water table. Or probably it's the slope, different reasons, because the design, because the placement. And sometimes septic system fail simply because just no routine maintenance or overuse of water in the household. Then just stress, like because in the tank, overuse the water and the sewer doesn't have enough time in the tank to break down the organic matters. So the solid may be flushed to the drain field and clog the drain field. Because ideally, the tank should be big enough to hold household waste for at least 24 hours to, I think, 36 hours. Just give it the natural occurring bacteria enough time to break down all the organic matters. So just show you some signs of a failing septic system. So if you smell like sulfur or rotten egg smell close to your tank or even indoors, it might be a sign of a failing septic system. Or you may also observe water or solid surface in the drain field, just like the picture here, or the sewage backup in the house. That's, you know, the septic system it's not working properly. And another way to know if you have a failing septic system, sometimes it's through the well water testing report, because visually you probably don't observe the standing water in the drain field, you don't smell anything, but your water quality report shows you have a high level of nitrate or you have bacteria. So that can be a sign of a failing septic system. And the leaching, like a failing septic system, or even a functional, because it can only treat 30% of the nitrogen. So leaching from septic system is one source of excess nitrogen and phosphorus to water bodies. And one source of nitrogen and phosphorus can lead to water quality deterioration, just like the picture showing you here. So that's how it come the 2016 Florida water bill. Just give you a very quick overview of this bill. The 2016 Florida Water Bill created the Florida Springs and Aquifer Protection Act. So it created a new category of protected waters for outstanding Florida springs. So there are 31st magnitude springs, but 24 out of it have been identified as nitrogen repaired. So for first magnitude, it's determined by the daily flow. So it's more than 100 cubic feet per second, or about 64 million gallons per day. So like the picture showing you here, Silver Springs is one of the first magnitude spring. And when the spring is identified as nitrogen impaired, then target nitrogen loadings was set, and a Basin Management Action Plan was developed. So just want to quickly show you the BMATs, Basin Management Action Plans. From the map, you can see if it's the green area, it's all within the Basin Management Action Plans. So it places more than 14 million acres under basin management. And for this plan, the Basin Management Action Plan, it is like a roadmap to reach water quality goals in springshed and watershed. So far, about 6.5 million people live in a BMAP area. So what does that BMAP do to septic systems? Because in BMAPs, it has a specific language for septic systems. So the BMAP is the springshed, also identify the priority focus area. So it's a little bit smaller if you see that's the BMAP is the broader area, A spring shed is the broader area, and the priority focus area, it's just a little bit smaller because it just like I said, it's priority focus area because that area it's more vulnerable to nitrogen loading. So for that, the PFA area requires, if sewer is already available in the region, then connection to sewer is required when such service is available. If sewer is not available in PFA, and when your septic system fails, you cannot get a permit to repair it. You have to either install a new septic system. Wait a minute. I think it's let me start over from the second part. So second part, it's in a PFA area because I missed another critical requirement. So if you're in the PFA, sewer service is not available. And also so far, if your lot is smaller than 1 acre. So if smaller than 1 acre for new development, you have to install the enhanced nitrogen treatment systems. And if in that 1 lot land, you already have your conventional system and that conventional system fails, then you cannot get a permit to repair the conventional system. You have to replace or modify the system to become enhanced nitrogen treatment system. So the specific language is on the slide. Hope I explained that clearly. Just want to reiterate. So with the BMAP, it's Basin Management Action Plan. They identify the PFA, its priority focus area. So if you live in this focus area, you have sewer connection, you have to connect to that. If not, there's another condition, it's a lot smaller than 1 acre. So you have to either install the new system, or when the conventional system fails, you have to upgrade to a nitrogen enhanced treatment system. So I think I spent some time to explain the PFA, explain the requirement. The next biggest question here is, how do I know if I live in an PFA? So you can go to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection website to search it, or you can also contact your local county office. They will give you some information. It can confirm if you live in PFA. Just like map show here, the yellow areas, they are all the PFAs. So you will receive this slide, so you can click the link. It will direct you to the FDEP website. So since the language requires upgrade to advanced septic systems, so what are advanced septic systems? There, I put a mounted septic system here just to clarify it's not a type of advanced technology, which I will explain later. So there are 3 major types of advanced treatment systems or nitrogen removing systems. One is aerobic treatment unit. The second is a nitrogen reducing performance-based treatment system. And the last one is in-ground nitrogen reducing biofilters. So first, let's have a look at mounted systems. Like I mentioned, it's not an advanced treatment system, but it becomes more and more common now. It's because the water table is too high, or your yard has a slope. So the gravity, it just doesn't work like your tank. It's your tank might be high, your tank is too close to the water, excuse me. So here's your tank, and then here's your drain field. And when your drain field is too close to the water table, you cannot install that. That's why it just elevated the drain field. Then in other words, usually the conventional septic systems, it's gravity fed. So your tank is usually higher than the drain field, than the effluent tank, you like gravity fed to the drain field. But for this mounted system, you lift the drain field, then it requires a pump to pump the water out to the drain field. For the advanced treatment technologies, in septic systems, usually it's they add steps to conventional systems to improve contaminant removal. They can add additional step in the tank process, or they can add a step in the drainfield process. So aerobic treatment unit, which is the first one, it just adds some treatment to the tank. It sort of will mimic wastewater treatment facilities, because to remove nitrogen, you would like to have an anaerobic condition and also aerobic condition. So in this way, you can remove, you can convert nitrogen to nitrate gas, so nitrogen gas. And for this aerobic unit, the nitrogen removal rate, it's average, it's 51% to 79%. And I find this diagram, it's from Texas A&M. I thought it's very interesting. That's why I added here. And that particular ATU, aerobic treatment unit, it also has a spray head. So after all the wastewater going through this advanced septic systems, you can also utilize that water to irrigate lawns or agriculture field. To meet that, like if for ATU with spray heads, then this system has to design to add some disinfection method, just like here it's a chlorinator is added, and also the system need to be regularly inspected and water need to be tested. So I thought it's a really good way, and it's very interesting design I would like to share with you. And here's the link to this particular model if you are interested. Another, it's a performance-based treatment systems. So they are engineered systems designed for a very specific level of contaminant removal. And it must be designed by Florida professional engineers. So average removal rate is 65% to 97%. You can find more information. It's from Florida Department of Environmental Protection. The last one, it's in-ground nitrogen reducing biofilters. Because the first two advanced systems, they usually add steps to the septic tank. Though some performance-based systems, they may modify the drain field, but very common approach like ATU, aerobic treatment unit, it's add one step during the tank treatment process. So it requires a pump. So it's more like active treatment. And in-ground nitrogen reducing biofilters, it's more like passive treatment. It doesn't really require pump. It adds treatment to the drain field, and to be more specific, after the drain field, it's unsaturated soil, and below that soil, they add a layer of wood chips. So in that way, it creates an aerobic condition to enhance the nitrogen removal. So if you are interested in learning more these septic systems, Florida Department of Environmental Protection is the place that you want to search, because on this webpage, on their webpage, you can find approved systems, because only approved advanced systems can be installed in Florida. Before, because now the septic system program is in transition from Florida Department of Health to Florida Department of Environmental Protection. So earlier, like before that, you probably get your permit from DOH. So now, because I searched DOH and their webpage already show you we are moving to DEP, and the DEP already got the webpage up. So some link might be broken from DOH's webpage. It may so it may require you to do some manually search, put FDEP in the septic system, or you can click this link, and on this page you can find all the items. And also want to mention here, it's for the advanced treatment unit. as it requires pumps and it requires certain design, it can, the cost it's more expensive than conventional systems. So the cost vary. I know some systems might be more than $10,000, and some now I talk to contractors. I think the prices are going down a little bit compared to several years ago. Last time I talked to one contractor, he said about $6,000 to $7,000. So it really depends. Also, since it's expensive, so highly encourage you, if your county is providing you any like substitute sewer service, take advantage of that. Another opportunity will be DEP incentives. It's not available now. I forgot which year they offer this incentives to upgrade a conventional septic system to an advanced septic system. And the last part is septic system maintenance. As I mentioned earlier, a failing septic system can simply be because of lack of maintenance or improper maintenance. So it's just how to maintain that. I feel like I already showed you the answer here, because I meant to ask you here, it's do you use any additives? Because usually septic system additives, they have two categories. One is chemical, another is biological. And sometimes some septic system pumpers will tell you every month you add a spoon of baking soda or enzyme like yeast into the tank, just flush it down to the toilet, so it can increase the bacterial level in the tank, which it's it's not quite true. Research doesn't show, research doesn't show any additives are effective or significantly effective, because for the septic tank, the bacteria inside, they are natural occurring bacteria. So when you introduce another group of bacteria, either the environment doesn't fit, like just it's not the right environment for the new bacteria. Oftentimes it's because of that. And if you introduce some chemicals into the tank, and either it doesn't work, which is just waste of money, probably not too bad to waste like $10. But if the chemicals kill all the natural occurring bacteria, it takes time for the bacteria to recover and do its job to break down the organic matters. So it just, if you want to maintain your septic tank, less is more. So no need for any additives. And also, it's a very busy table, what not to do here, but I usually break it down by room. So we can start from the kitchen here. So kitchen here, the goal is just do not use your kitchen disposal as a trash can. So if you, because the kitchen disposal just grind all the big solids into smaller solids, and then eventually all the solids still go into your tank, and it's building up in your tank. Either you pump it more frequently, or if you don't, then the solids will be washed out to the drain field. So instead, you can do composting in your kitchen and to do some good soil amendment. And for the bathroom, it looks so long here, but I usually say it's for the bathroom, you follow 4P theory. So for you who are watching here, if you can use the Q&A function, would you like to tell me what the 4Ps are? Anyone want to take a guess? Because we already know the first of 2 Ps. And something else here, it's you can flush it down the toilet. It's a paper and a little bit gross here and puke. So when it comes to paper, it's only toilet paper, no wipes. So wipes, they may say flushable. The flushable probably just sometimes just means it's not gonna get clogged in your plumbing. But when it gets to the tank, it's not biodegradable. So I've seen some pictures from utility. It's people flush down these wipes and then got clogged at lift station. And these operators had to manually remove it. It's similar in your septic tank. It will stay. If it doesn't clog the plumbing, then it will stay at the bottom of the tank. So your goal here is always decrease the solid layer and also decrease the grease layer. So in other words, in the kitchen, sometimes we forget it's like when it's the fat introduced into the drain. It's not just bacon grease. It can also be your milk, also contains fat. So it just be cautious what you put into your drain and eventually end up in the septic tank. And the next, it's do not pipe wastewater to a road, ditch, storm sewer, or nearby surface water body. And do not overuse chemical cleaners and detergent. Because for septic tank, like I mentioned, inside it's natural occurring bacteria. They're doing their job to break down all the organic matters. Too much chemicals may kill the bacteria. And once the bacteria is dead, it takes time for it to recover. And also do not attempt to inspect or pump septic tank yourself. So it's really the safety related to septic tank. Not sure if you read that news last month. So it's just a toddler found dead in the septic tank one day after he was reported missing. So it was just a tank. I forgot the details. I think it was only a plywood covering the tank. The plywood was rotting or something like that, and that child fell into the tank. And earlier I saw a news in Jacksonville. So there's quite a few news related to the safety, like just these septic system accidents. Improperly cover the tank opening, just like the plywood in the news, or careless maintenance, because either exposed to the toxic fumes or you get drowned in the septic tank. And what to do is do you use a certified professional to inspect your tank every 3 years? That's really the rough estimation. Later, I will show you a table like your pumping frequency. And do be present when your system is inspected and ask questions of the inspectors. Keep a record of all the inspections. Make sure your system is properly sited and constructed by having the initial inspection. So when it comes to pumping, it's a little bit gross picture, but I really want to show you here. If you haven't seen the pumping, it's just the top layer, that's scum. And pumping should remove all the scum, sludge, and the liquid from tank. So I have another picture, I didn't put it here, just after it's pumped, nothing should be left in the tank. Pumping frequency is dependent on the tank capacity, the amount of wastewater entering the tank, and the volume of solids in wastewater. So what does that mean? It's all covered in this table. This table was created by Penn State Extension. So it estimated it's based on the tank size and how many people in the household. Because how many people in the household based on the average water use sort of get the estimated, estimated water use per day per person based on utility data. So can get the total household water use. So that's why it's easier for us to know how many people in the household. Instead, we figure out how much water we use. So keep in mind that this table also is based on you do not use garbage disposal. So if you use garbage disposal, you have to increase the frequency by 50%. So let's look at a table and take example. So let's say it's a 2,000 gallon tank. and there are 5 people living in the house. So you can see it's every 4.5 years, 4.5 years, the tank need to be pumped. And if you use a garbage disposal, you may need to pump it more frequently, probably will be every 3 years. And what else to do here is do direct all the household water into the system. Just do not divert the system, and do conserve water to avoid overloading the septic systems. Because the tank, like I mentioned earlier, that we would like to have all the sewer in the tank for at least 24 hours before it discharged to the drain field. It gives the bacteria enough time to break down the organic matters. And also do learn the location of your septic system. So I got a few phone calls, either they are renters or they just purchased a house. They couldn't find their septic systems. Not knowing where your tank is or where your drain field is can cause some problems. And also know the system capacity, how big the tank is, because it helps you to understand how often you need to pump it. And a little bit more caution to the drain field. It's Florida doesn't really have harsh winter, but also just for the cold days, the drain field might be delicate. It's especially true in the north. In Florida, it doesn't show a significant impact. For Florida, it's for the drain field, you want to just pay more attention. It's a good vegetation cover. So, because a good vegetation, it can uptake all the nutrients. So how to maintain a good cover is just mow it frequently, not frequently, mow it regularly. Because when you mow it regularly, you encourage the growth, and you don't need to use any fertilizers for the drain field. Because for the drain field area, it already has water, it already has nutrient. It's always perfect for the grass to grow. There's always a joke. It's the greener yard you have, probably it's a failing septic systems. So it's partially true, because drain field usually is greener and the grass look healthier, because it's just the nature of a conventional septic system. It can only remove 30% of the nitrogen. And what else not to do, especially for the drain field? It goes back to me, to my point, knowing where your system is, because you don't want to drive or park anything heavier than a lawnmower over your drain field, because it's only about like 1 to 3 feet below surface. You don't want to compact the soil, and you don't really want to damage the drain field if it's only 1 feet below. And do not plant any trees and shrubs near the system, any parts of the system. Again, septic system is high in water, high in nutrient, and it's perfect for, that's everything roots are seeking for. So they will find a water source, they will find a nutrient, especially close to the drain field. I've seen some people replace their drain field because the tree roots got intertwined into the drain field. And when your drain field fails, there's no way to unclog it. You have to replace the drain field. It can be very expensive. And also for the drain field, do not add additional soil to it. It's already designed in this way. Just let it be. Like I mentioned earlier, the less is more. And also what to do, it's if you have like this picture showing all the downpour. So divert surface water runoff from roofs, driveways, and the downspouts away from the drain field if you can. So a good strategy you can do is a rain barrel. When the drain field is saturated, it's very challenging for the drain field to do its job, to do any treatment. So that's why we would like to divert the surface runoff if you can. And some additional sources here for you. So I mentioned for the Department of Environmental Protection a lot because they regulate septic systems. So you can find a lot of useful information through their website. Another source, I took a screenshot here. It's a UF-IFAS developed a septic system page. On this page, we have fact sheets. We also have some videos. If you need any information, you can find it here from the IFAS septic system page, or you can find it from DEP webpage. Just a reminder of the following 2 webinars. One is in May 10th, another is on June 14th. Private well care before and after storms. Another one is septic system care before and after storms. With that, I appreciate your time and look forward to answering your questions. And when you type in questions, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A function. I'll have some links I will put into the chat box. And while some of you might be typing questions, I do want to launch this survey really quick. Just want to know if you have improved your knowledge about septic systems. And thank you for these who took the survey, very much appreciated. And I dropped 2 links in the chat box. One is the webinar series, another there's a web page for Central Florida water education. You can find some residential water, like irrigation questions, landscaping information, and you can also find more related to septic systems. Here is my email address and my counterpart, Dr. Andrea Aberton. She's housed in North Florida Research and Education Center. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. So I don't see any questions at the Q&A window. So I think I answered all your questions you have. I hope so. So thank you again, everyone. You have my email address, and please be on the lookout. I think I will share because the recording is usually for Zoom, it's available the next day. So once the link is available, I will share the recording in a PowerPoint slide with everyone. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon, and hope you all have a wonderful Tuesday afternoon. Bye now.